Hello, this is You Could Tube, and today we are going to do part one of painting in Photoshop. So what I'm going to do is I am going to drag this drawing, this exquisite corpse drawing that we made in class, and I'm going to color it in. So the first thing we do after we drag our image into Photoshop is we are going to make it a little bit bigger in case we want to print it out poster size. So I'm going to go ahead and make this into a 16 by 20 image. And I'm going to keep it at 300 pixels per inch and do 16-bit. So we hit OK. And here is our drawing made by 3 different people. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to separate out the background, the white background from the line drawing so that we just have the line drawing. So you go up, you can either hit Command L for levels or you can grab it in the menu bar. And you're going to want to take this mid-tone slider and move it all the way over to the right. So now we have some really great dark lines that are really standing out from the background. Then I'm going to go to select color range. Now, if you remember from any of my previous videos, there 255 is pure white. So we're on the range we want to select. So we go ahead and hit OK, and just hit delete. And there you have it. You have now separated your lines from the background. So all you have is this line to work with, which is what we want. So then you're going to go ahead and create a new fill layer. Do solid color, hit OK, and we want pure white. Some people prefer to work on gray. I like to work on white. And I can't quite get pure white from clicking on that, but what we can do is go into our RGB channels and just hit 255, repeat, repeat, and there's our white background. And we are going to drag this layer up. So the first thing we want to do is create all the different layers. I like to use different layers for all the parts. So like the body is going to be one layer, the bikini is going to be another layer, the details on the creature will be another layer, the plane will be one layer, and so forth. So let's go ahead and get started. I mean, you don't have to do it all in this order, but I think it just makes life faster. So go ahead, new layer, and I'm going to call it body. Then layer new, again, body details, and then layer new, plain, main, layer new, plain, details. Let's see, what else do we need? We need the bikini layer. And I want to make the drink a different layer as well. So there, we have that together. And then the last layer, create one more layer, and we're going to call it our palette. So here is where we choose the colors that we want to make the creature. So I'm also going to maximize the screen here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pick a nice mid-tone, which I want as the main part of my creature. So I'll go ahead and click that, make my paintbrush a little bit bigger, and just start choosing colors. Oh, and I'm going to do a harder brush. So let's do that and over that. Okay. So, and then I want to pick some colors that I could use for my shadow, and some colors that I could use for highlights. And then I'll do a very light pink. Make that smaller. Boop. Okay. So that's kind of our body. And then for the bikini, I want the bikini to be like this fuchsia color. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick that, and then a lighter one, and keep going lighter until we are this would be a highlight. Oh, and then I need to pick a shadow, so I'll go ahead and take this dark red. And then the plain, I think blue will be nice contrast. Maybe, yeah. Oh, wait. Just drag that back out. And proceed to picking my colors. So that's more dark than I want for the plain, so I'll use that as the shadow. It's kind of more along the lines what I want for plain. I like to give myself a lot of options. You don't have to have as many options as I do, but I like it. All right. And then I think the plain details, I'd like some yellow, yellowish, greenish. And then for the drink, I want it to be this like bright green, like a Midori sour type drink. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm just gonna go ahead and minimize my palette so I can see my layers. And here we go. Let's get down to the body. Oh, and I forgot to label this line. I like to label, when I'm using a lot of layers, I like to label them just so I can keep track of what's going on, because sometimes you move the layers around and whatnot. So it just makes life easier to know what you're working with. So let's go ahead. Oh, and I'm also going to drag the line up to the top so that when we color underneath it, it doesn't cover up the line, you see? Okay. So I'm going to use this color for the body. So, oh wait, I'm not using my paintbrush. I'm actually going to do a really, really quick and easy way of filling in a lot of color space at once. So go ahead and grab your magnetic lasso tool. And I just love it because it's so easy. And you just go like that. And this is kind of what takes the longest, I think. I'm just going to outline the whole creature. And oh no, okay, yeah, okay, now we have that. So we have our creature outlined and selected, and let's go down here and grab our paint bucket tool. If it doesn't pop up automatically, just hold down on that little that little triangle in the corner, and then all your different options will come up right here. But we've got the paint bucket tool. And this is seriously how easy it is. Once you've selected the color you want, boom, and now you have a purple creature. Okay, so hit Command D for deselect, and we're just gonna work our way up the layers. So body details. So I think what I'd like to do is give the creature spots different colors than her body. Like I'll leave the under part the same. Of course, you can choose what you want to color in and whatnot. So again, we're going to go grab the magnetic lasso tool and do the same thing. Now when you make one selection, you want to make another selection, hit Shift. Hold down the Shift key as you continue to use the lasso tool. Don't let your hand off that Shift key because you'll have to do it all over again if you hit outside of your selection and you're not holding down Shift. It's kind of a pain. Okay, so we have those spots selected. Just going to select these guys. Almost there. So close. Oh, come on. These smaller spots can sometimes be challenging, so sometimes I just fill them in manually. Okay, so that's good enough for now. Again, I'm going to go back to my paint bucket tool, and I'm going to pick a slightly lighter color, maybe that one, and click. And now we have purple spots. Deselect, and I think I want to make her horns a different color. So let's again, don't forget to hold down the Shift key before you get to the new selection that you make. And actually I'm going to make this face part, this face detail the same. And then I think the inside of the ear should be a different color, don't you? All right, so we have that selected. So I think I'll stay in the same color family, but just to keep it interesting, and go grab your paint bucket again, I think I will do this pink. Boop. Okay, there we go. And now we are going to go do the plane. So again, magnetic lasso tool, outline that shape, outline, outline. And we have our plane outlined. So the plane I'm going to make it blue. This seems like a very pleasant blue. And there's that. And then I think the last two things we need, we've got 3 more to go. Okay, so I'll spare you the plain details for now, but let's go to the bikini because that is going to be this fun color here. Oh wait, and we have to again take our magnetic lasso tool, and I'm going to zoom in just because there's some details on the straps that I don't want to miss. And it's seriously this easy. Wow. And don't worry if you miss stuff, you can always go back and paint it in traditionally. I'm going to leave that part unpainted just for now so I can show you. Okay. So that's selected. We're going to go paint bucket tool, and we already selected the color of the bikini before I picked the lasso tool, so then just there we go. So we can just go in, if you miss a spot or something, you can go in, fill it in with the traditional paint tool. And then I think it'll be faster to paint in the drink versus doing the whole selecting thing. So I'm just gonna hit Option. I've got my paintbrush already selected. And oh, don't forget to get to the drink layer. And I'll just go ahead and fill that in. And in the initial stages of making a painting like this, I like to use a harder brush versus a softer brush because you can always go in and soften things up when you're doing shading and shadowing and things like that. All right, so, and I'm leaving the eyes because in another tutorial we're actually going to take some photographs of eyes and replace them there. And oh, and I wanted to make her teeth kind of this weird yellow color. I think in real life yellow teeth aren't the best, but it works really well in this universe. And I know I said we're going to replace the eyes, but we can just paint them for fun if we want. Because it's Photoshop. And it's fun. Okay, there we have it. I didn't do any of the plain details. Because you get the idea. But now what we're gonna do is, because it's super sketch, like it's a very sketchy drawing, I'm gonna go in and clean up some of the fuzzy parts and the faster line drawing parts, just to make it a little more solid. And at this point, we don't really need to look at our palette. It's kind of bothering me. So the nice thing about working with layers is you can just do all this stuff and not, you know, if you make a mistake, like that, well, that you can just hit Command Z. But yeah, using different layers gives you a lot more flexibility and freedom. So I am going to click on this part, and because it's black, oh wait, I forgot one main thing. Layer, we're gonna do a layer mask, hit reveal all. Okay, so now we are gonna paint away some of the lines. And for me, this is one of the fun parts of this. And don't worry, see this purple part, we'll go in and fix that after the fact. I'm going to remove the pearl necklace because in another tutorial I'm going to show you how to put in the eyes and the pearl necklace. The end goal of this is to get a drawing that's a little more three-dimensional and that's on a background. Here, I'll show you. So this is kind of what we want to get at the end, and this is going to be a series of 3 or 4 tutorials. So, but let's just focus on one thing at a time. So back to our line drawing. Close that out. Let's just clean it up. And if you've never done an exquisite corpse drawing before, you should totally try it. It's an old surrealist game, and you fold a piece of paper into several parts, and you get different people to draw different sections, you know, starting from top of the page to the bottom of the page, and you don't let the person see, the person after you see what you drew, rather you leave some grid lines for them, and then they come up with something completely different. And then you get weird creatures like this that fly around in planes and drink cocktails. And another nice thing to do when you're working with drawings like this, I like to do 2 windows. So if you go to Window and you go to Arrange and you go down to New Window for Painting Model 2, which is the name of our file, you now have 2 copies, 2 views of the same thing. And then you go back to Window Arrange and Tile Up Vertical. So on this one, I'll make it far out so we can just refer back to what we're doing. And this one we can work up close without losing sight of the big picture. And then when we've colored outside of the lines like that, we'll just go to the body, create a new layer mask, reveal all. And then we can just clean up where we've colored outside the lines. And for me, I really like the line drawing type characters. Oh, I'm gonna go back to the line here. So I know some people prefer to have more refined characters, which is fine. Let me know if you want to see a tutorial on doing something like that, where there's not as many of these pencil marks. And again, the nice thing about using layer masks is that it's not non-destructive. So if you realize like, oh, maybe I wanted to leave a little bit more of the line in, you can just go back, you know, hit X or click on that, and you can paint the lines back in. So I hit X because I want to continue erasing. And say maybe I changed my mind and I don't want any of this detail on the plane because I feel like it's too distracting or whatever. You can just go ahead and take that out. And you could always draw other lines in if you wanted. You could take your paintbrush and, you know, pick a darker color and say, I'm going to draw a line right here. Of course, we've erased our layer mask, so we have to go paint that spot back in. But you can see, you know, that's where we drew our line. But I'm gonna just keep, I think I'm just gonna keep erasing the spots on this one section. And for me, this part is the most fun and satisfying. go back to that layer and see if I can draw that part in. Hold on, let me Command Z that. Okay, go back. And then it's nice, you can fill in things that weren't completely drawn. Take things out. All right, I could do this all night, but I'm pretty sure that you don't want to watch me color all night. So you get the idea. So this is the first part of a series of 3 videos. And in the next installment, we're going to go ahead and learn how to shade our character so she has some more dimension, like this version I did. Let me just open it. So as you can see, this is kind of the end goal. We put in some real eyes. We put in a real pearl necklace from a photograph. And then we've added some shading to just add a little bit more dimension to this. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.